Hi everyone, welcome to our Monday TNT, and thanks for all the people watching Grumpy Old Men yesterday, all the people that responded last week. Huge response to some of the stories, one in particular, and we'll be starting with that today. In fact, we've got a lot to get through, so let's get started. Heading to the BangkokPost.com, Swiss beach bully to lose Elephant Foundation, and Phuket authorities will revoke the Elephant Foundation licence of the Swiss man who allegedly kicked a Thai woman doctor on a beach after cancelling his gun licences. And this is according to a media conference with the Phuket governor, who was on a bit of a trip, but was called back by the Interior Minister Anatin Charnvirakul, saying there's stuff you need to do back in Phuket. And the Phuket Provincial Hall, through public prosecutors, will ask a court to dissolve the Elephant Foundation. And the governor said that the foundation used the same logo as that of Mr. Fair's Green Elephant Sanctuary Park. And Phuket authorities had ordered the people concerned to clarify the operations of the Elephant Sanctuary and the Elephant Foundation. Well, I would have thought you would have been doing those investigations and coming up with some conclusions before making the revocation of his licence. Anyway, the assistant Phuket governor said the foundation was originally called Green Elephant and was later renamed Green Elephant Wildlife. The foundation also shared the same address as the Elephant Park, and the foundation was legally registered in December 2021, and its establishment was aimed at helping and treating injured elephants. And the sanctuary park holds 14 elephants, 13 rented and the other bought from the northern province of Pattaya. He's already had his visa revoked. Now it looks like he's going to have the Elephant Sanctuary licence revoked as well, pending investigations. And we head to Pattaya now. ThePattayaNews.com. Banglamung police shoot suspected motorcycle thieves. One teenager injured in pursuit. And this happened at 5 p.m. on March the 9th in Soi Rongpo, as police officers chased two suspects involved in motorcycle theft. When they arrived at the scene, they found an improvised blank gun with a bullet shell nearby. Emergency services performed first aid to a 17-year-old who was in serious injury after being shot in the left side of his back. Investigative officers investigated an area, that's what investigative officers do, in Banglamung to track down the wanted motorcycle thieves. Apparently they stole motorcycles in the Chonburi area and exported them to a neighbouring country. So you might be wondering why the 17-year-old was shot. And it says two suspects in ongoing motorcycle thefts were spotted and the police then asked for an inspection. However, the two suspects attempted to flee and the 17-year-old suspect reportedly pointed a weapon at the police officers, according to the police. The police reportedly shot at the concrete ground twice, and the 17-year-old suspect was then hit by a stray bullet. So it appears the police fired warning shots, according to the story anyway, and one of the shots ricocheted into the 17-year-old. Heading to Bangkok now, and Bangkok Post reporting woman arrested for alleged 3XL sex service. And Bangkok police arrested an overweight woman for alleged prostitution in a sting operation after seeing an online advertisement for sex services by overweight women. And the arrest happened in the Bang Khen district on Saturday night when a 49-year-old was arrested, and police also seized 2 sex toys and numerous condoms. Well, at least she should get some points for practicing safe sex. And before the arrest, police found the advertisement on X. It offered unlimited sex services in a party with overweight women, with an 1,800 baht fee for each woman. The plainclothes policeman transferred the fee to a bank account before the appointment at the hotel, and the woman, who weighs about 130 kilograms, admitted to the crime and said she also received an 800 baht share of the service fee for each overweight woman she procured. Case concerns prostitution for those who prefer 3XL women, and police took proactive suppression to prevent other related crimes because there's no prostitution in Thailand. And you're invited to subscribe to the channel. Big thumbs up to our sponsor, 5 Star Marine at 5 Star Marine Phuket.com. We've just had some great weather over the past couple of months here in the south, and if you are heading to Phuket, I'd highly recommend 5-Star Marine if you want to head out onto the waters of Panga. Now, from the last story to this, completely unrelated, and it's covered in PattayaMail.com by Barry Kenyon. Pattaya, not the fun it was once, says nightlife guru. And who's the nightlife guru? Well, welcome back to Stickman Bangkok. And Stickman Bangkok, the leading bar and club commentator since 1998, claims boldly that Pattaya has shaken off its seedy reputation, and Pattaya is moving rapidly towards diversification and respectability. He says what was once a playground for middle-aged white men is now very much a family holiday destination. And peak Pattaya was, he claims, from 1998 to 2010, when the resort had transformed from something of a backwater beach destination to a developed but not overdeveloped resort. And Pattaya is bland by comparison and not any more offbeat or risque. Now, this is going to draw a lot of comments, and we look forward to them, and we might read out some of them tomorrow. Now, I've been to Pattaya probably 3 times in the 12 or 13 years I've been here in Thailand. There has been quite a discernible change from when I first visited it, which would have been back in 2000, I suppose, just visiting Thailand as a tourist, to the last time, which was around about 3 or 4 years ago. I suppose you'd call it gentrification generally, but really it's just Pattaya adapting to the people that are visiting there at the moment. And Stickman said today's Pattaya is a concrete jungle, as everyone sees on arrival, and is no longer a bargain for the economy tourist. The sex-dominated districts like Soi 6 and Soi Buakhao are fewer in number and probably less fun than they once were. And mobile phones have replaced furtive glances as you pass by. Walking Street has changed beyond all recognition, a future likely dominated by Indian dance clubs and bars, essentially catering for Asian travellers. And the article says, putting the sex back in Pattaya, as you might say, isn't an option, as Thailand's birth rate continues to decline, largely because of the expense of raising families. Young Thais have better options than selling their bodies. Pattaya's successful MICE market, that's meetings and conventions, the expanding 5-star accommodation options, and the much misunderstood Eastern Economic Corridor, and the diversification of entertainment facilities, catering for families, all point to a future very different from 15 years ago. Well, I think there's still plenty of the old Pattaya there if you're willing to search for it. But yes, clearly they are diversifying the options for families who are heading to that area. And the article finishes by saying nostalgia for the past, of course, is a privilege of advancing years. And there's a link in that article. I'll put it actually in the body of the description of today's video if you'd like to read Stickman Bangkok's full article about that particular issue. And yes, we do look forward to your comments on that particular story. Couple of aviation stories now. Heading to BangkokPost.com, 2 Indonesian Batik Air pilots suspended after falling asleep in the cockpit. Don't think that's what they're meant to do. And Batik Air, full-service carrier of Indonesia's Lion Group, temporarily suspended 2 pilots after they fell asleep in the cockpit during a domestic flight in late January. Temporarily suspended? I would have thought you would have been chucked out of the industry forever. And the flight was on its way from Jakarta to Kendari in Sulawesi on January the 25th with 153 passengers when neither the pilot or co-pilot responded to communications from air traffic control and another plane. They were trying to contact the Airbus A320 after it failed to follow the designated route and headed past Jakarta towards the Indian Ocean. And 28 minutes after the last recorded transmission from the co-pilot, the captain woke up and became aware that the aircraft was not on the correct flight path. He then saw that his second-in-command was sleeping and woke him up in what the National Transportation Safety Commission describes as a serious incident. would have thought they were lucky they didn't run out of fuel. I suppose there would have been lots of alarms going off if it got to that stage. But yeah, serious. And Batik Air, in the statement on Saturday, said it operates with an adequate rest policy for its crew and accordance with regulations to ensure they have optimal physical and mental condition when carrying out their duties. I'd like to know the names of those pilots. I certainly wouldn't want to be flying in a plane with either of them. But to some better aviation news, and this covered in MacauBusiness.com, Thai Cambodia Airlines to establish new routes via Macau Airport. And the company responsible for operating the Macau International Airport indicated that Really Cool Airlines of Thailand will start operation routes between Thailand and Macau, while AirAsia Cambodia has confirmed operating a Phnom Penh Macau route. And Really Cool Airlines expects to receive its Thai Air Operator Certificate in the first quarter of 2024. Sort of running out of time. And as some background, as of February 2024, the Macau International Airport operates 213 round-trip flights per week to 18 cities in Southeast Asia and Northeast Asia, with the airport operator noting that airline operations have returned to around about 40% of the pre-pandemic level. So getting planes in and out of Macau would be a key to the success of the casinos there. Let's head to Phi Phi Island, Kho Phi Phi. And Nation Thailand reports that Phi Phi Island's twin woes: not enough water, too much marijuana. And the much visited Phi Phi Island in Krabi province is drowning in multiple crises. There's a severe shortage of fresh water for consumption, and outlets selling marijuana are on the rise. And quoting the managing partner of Phi Phi Bay View Resort, he said, "The price of fresh water is expected to be high, ranging from 150 to 300 baht per cubic metre, and the water is sourced from natural wells and artesian wells." Drinking water is very, very cheap here in Thailand, and even at that price I would have thought it's still quite cheap. He said the water crisis had reached beyond the capacity of private enterprises to address independently, and the government may need to allocate a budget to secure freshwater sources or consider installing desalination plants to source seawater. And then on another matter, he said the social issue that may impact the image and confidence of large groups of tourists is the open and extensive availability of marijuana. And some tourists, upon arriving in Thailand, may freely engage in the consumption or use, even though it may not be illegal. However, on the flip side, this could have negative consequences for other groups of tourists who would not want their children, particularly teenagers, to come to Thailand. And then he continued by urging the government to expedite issuing regulations on marijuana use. He said it should not be freely available, and public authorities should enforce strict regulations or laws to prevent unrestricted sales as seen currently. And he suggested there could be designated areas for marijuana use or prohibiting sales in public spaces along the roadsides and tourist areas. So along with a lot of other southern Thailand tourist hotspots, the surge of tourists is certainly accelerating or amplifying some of the potential problems in those areas. Things like this: illegal British tour guide arrested in Karon. As published in the PhuketExpress.com, just more of these stories of the current Phuket purge. And an illegal British tour guide was arrested at the Phuket Big Buddha in Karon. Mr. Ryan, 34, is a British national. He was arrested at the parking area of the Phuket Big Buddha. And more, Russian woman arrested illegally working at Wichit Snake Farm. And over the past weekend, police inspected a snake farm and show in Wichit, and a woman identified as Ms. Alina, 34, a Russian national, was found working in the office inside the snake farm. So I figure we're going to have plenty more stories like those two in coming weeks as officials really put the spotlight on Phuket. And a good news story today. NationThailand.com reporting Trut rolls out red carpet for scavenger who wanted to see the sea for the first time. And the story of a 70-year-old scavenger riding his motorcycle with a sidecar from Ubon Ratchathani province to Trut and receiving a warm welcome from locals has become another proof of the power of social media and Thai people's generosity and kindness. And Loy Tapila from Ubon Ratchathani rode hundreds of kilometres starting from his home on March the 3rd and reaching Thrat on the evening of March the 8th for an experience of seeing the sea for the first time in his life. And a reporter talked to the old man, shared his story, which soon went viral on social media, allowing him to receive some food and small donations along his way until he reached Thrat and got a warm welcome from the Thrat Tourism Industry Council. The old man said he suddenly had a wish to see the sea for the first time in his life, so he decided to leave his home with just 200 baht in cash. And he said he collected recyclable garbage along the way, sold them to raise money for petrol and meals, and stayed overnight at petrol stations. Some people who saw his sign gave him food and drinks, and he also got food from temples. Once he'd checked in, the hotel staff rode him in an electric golf cart to the beach. When he'd reached the beach, the old man ran into the sea and played in the water cheerfully. It's remarkable, isn't it? 70 years old and hadn't seen the sea, but just very happy that he was able to achieve his goal. And with that, we thank you very much for watching today. Hopefully you're a bit more up to date with things happening around Thailand. Please subscribe to the channel if you enjoy what we do, and we look forward to seeing you tomorrow.